Welcome everybody to the Mind, Body, and Soul television show coming to you live from ConsciousEvolutionMedia.com. We are streaming the show on our website. Also, we are being streamed by YouTube on YouTube Live as well as Google Hangouts. I'm your host, Coach Steve Toth, and also the founder of Conscious Evolution Media. And we have a very interesting and intriguing guest with us this evening. His name is El Haji Nero, and he's joining us from Texas. And he's an author, a speaker, an entrepreneur, and many other things that we're going to find out about during the show. Welcome to the show, Nero.
Thank you. Thank you. Pleasure being on the show.
You're welcome. You seem to be a very nice young man. So I come across a lot of young men like yourself, and they don't have their act together like you do. So we definitely want to find out how you pulling this off. So I know that I talked to you a little bit about. Actually, I'm going to make this our second question. Our first question is the usual one, which is, if I take all those titles away, like if I take the author, the speaker, the entrepreneur, the friend, the partner, the project member, whatever, all the things that people have ever called you, if I take all those away, what's left? Who is really El Haji Nero?
I'm an adventure kind of person. So apart from all the title, I'm that kind of young guy that I like to experience new things, learn new things, and meet new people. So that's all about me.
So that's who you are. Okay, awesome. All right, so we had a conversation, a short one just the other day, and I mentioned to you that I have never met anybody who had a name, which your real name is Bucko, that's your first name, and my mother's maiden name is Bucko, and now I just found out a second thing that's very common between you and I. I probably have done about 60 shows. I've done a whole series a few years ago about how to win the game of life, and you wrote a book. This is like 2 out of a million.
Yeah.
And I have goosebumps. Do you have goosebumps?
No.
No. Okay. So, winning the game of life is a very interesting thing to me. So, I'll share with you what I meant by it. But first, let's hear from you. Obviously you're an author, and you wrote this book called The Destined to Win in the Game of Life. And what made you passionate about writing this book, and how did you? I mean, you seem to me very young. So, how did all this come together so quickly? You must be a quick learner, I know. But besides that,
I'll start by thanking first for the compliment about me being young and having the passionate to write a book on that topic. What made me really try to write something about winning the game of life is because I came to realize that life is all about the game. We are playing a game with a starting point, and we have the ending point. Because when I found out that the two most important days in our life are the day we are born and the day we realize why we are born, I tend to relate with a lot of my young people around my age group who are not using their potentials, who are living the lives of others, doing what they call follow the followers. So those were the things that realized me and made me to start searching for how life needs to be lived. And then I realized from the experts in the field of self-improvement, they talked about 80% of young people are using just 5% of their potentials. That means they are also realizing just 5% of the result. That gives me the ego, that gives me the passion to go further into the self-improvement trading, to go further into the self-improvement categories. Because when I take back from my personal experience, I see a lot of things about life, and that made me to title my book, Best Life. It's like a game. In a game, there's two opponents. That's how our life is. failure wants to take over us, and we are born with a winning spirit. So it's just like playing the game. No matter how challenges, fears, all those things come across you, we were born with a winning spirit. So I want to let young people know about they are born with a winning spirit, and if they keep playing, they still have the spirit to win the game, to still keep going after what they were born, to realize that once you are on earth, once you are still breathing, you are a living, breathing miracle every single day you spend on earth. So once you still have that breathing and you are living, you still have chances to win in the game of life.
Wow, that's very interesting. And so what I want to add to that is when I talk about the game of life, how I talk about it is not much different from yours, but I just want to add something to it, which is everything on this planet that we have created is a game. If we look around, there's the game of all the sports. There are the game of real estate. There's a game of finance. There's the game of government. Everything is a game, and either individuals got together, an individual who started the game, or a group of people got together and started the game, and they wrote the rules. So all these games that we get to play have rules, and if we don't know what the rules are, we're not going to be a very good player. Or there are lots of people out there that try to play, for example, soccer with the rules of chess. And that's not going to turn out well, will it? Nero?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, well, yeah, that's very interesting. So tell us a little bit about, so we can relate to you a little bit closer on the show. Where were you born, and what went you through? What did you go through in your life to get to where you are today? Just a synopsis. Can you give us just a summary?
I was born in Africa, Cameroon, prescribably Bamenda, as a city, as a port. That is where I was born, and that's where I was raised.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that I face in life, I faced primarily back in my home country. I took all my lessons, I took all my educations back in my home country before coming over to the United States. And all my things that I have gone through in life fall up to one sentence that I learned from my mentor, that when life knocks you down, trying to land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. So I realized that all the things that I face in life, I've always kept moving on with full speed. No matter how the challenges that have hit me during my life, as a young child, sometimes when you are at the age of 18, 17, you are confused. You're still looking for the direction, which way to put your mind on, where to go. Your prayer pressure is over you and all those things. And I realized that everything that came around me, because of that sentence, that when life knocks you down, try to land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. I realized no matter how I fell down during my challenges, I kept looking up and I was able to get up.
Very cool. So I think what's coming to me right now is that you probably had a hard life when you were growing up. I mean, in a way, most of us have a tough life as we grow up, but a lot of people don't get over it. They carry on this stuff. A lot of people carry it into their 6 foot under, and a lot of them don't realize that they can get over whatever it is that happened to them when they were young, as soon as they're ready to get over it, and they can get to freedom and really have joy, prosperity, and whatever it is that they want. As soon as they get over whatever it is that they need to get over, because we don't have to live by what happened to us and some of the dramas that occurred when we were kids, do we?
We don't need to really carry on with everything, because everything we face is either for a test or for something in our life. Everything happens for a reason. There are some people who just moan and complain about something, and they feel like that's doing something. They fail to understand that you can't learn how to swim by just reading books of swimming. No matter how you complain about something, action is the greatest thing. If you have the time to complain about any situation you face in your life, that's the time that you can take on using the action on potential. Because everything that we put in our life has an equal proportion of a result we can use to overcome that challenges or that obstacles. So when I look at what is going on around the world, I realize that some people, they just complain about something, but they don't want to do anything. And that is why there is a saying that some people complain they have no shoes until they see somebody without no legs. What you are complaining about, somebody is getting over it at that period of time. So everything that comes to your life, there's a way to get over it. We just need to raise up, believe in ourselves, never give up, and just keep going after the life we want.
Very good. So, how did you come up with this name, Al Haji Nero? Because this is not your real name. This is just the pen name, right?
Yes. When I was 15 years old, I had a lot of compliments about uh, helping my friends in some kind of situation that they faced. And I realized that I was so good in either getting up somebody with words of encouragement, words of hope. And that was when I realized that I have that zeal of using my creativities, using my entrepreneurship spirit to do and to help people. And the only name that at that point in time that I was so attached to it was Nero. Then I used the name El Haji, which is related to my father, and I put the name in his meaning. El Haji Nero. It means entrepreneur, living, habitual, adventurous journey, innovate, networking, enthusiastic, result opportunities. So that goes along with everything I do in life. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm living and a habitual, adventurous journey. I like to innovate. I like to network with people, and I'm enthusiastic about what I do, and that result opportunities in the areas of which I am faced in life.
Fantastic. So, I know that on your website, when I was kind of looking around there, I noticed that you have this thing called the 9 Wisdom Keys. So, how did you come up with this? Because you're not old enough to have wisdom. Where did those come from? I'm
Oh,
just kidding. I'm just kidding. Of course, you can have wisdom
okay,
at
all
any
right,
age.
okay, all right. I was about to say something about you don't need to judge a book by the cover, because
Yeah,
sometimes,
you don't need to be 80 to have wisdom.
yes,
No,
yes,
I'm
because
just kidding. Yeah,
wisdom
but
is.
how did you come up with those 9 wisdom keys?
I came up with nine wisdom key by a period of time. When I just came to the United States, my first year, I had to stay away from friends. I had to try to find out why people do what they do. I had to find out why birds fly, why people drive in a car. I had to find out why good people die. I had to find out why the things around us move. I had to find out a lot of things around me. I wanted to discover a lot of things that are happening about in life. So there were some period of time I had to take a vacation and go to a certain city just by myself. I just try to picture myself to memorize everything, and I start having that true wisdom. I start being able to relate with things, and that's where I found out that we can control ourselves. We can control what comes in our mind, because our mind is like a farmer's land. It doesn't care what we put in it. Whatever we put in it is gonna produce more. That was the time I started bringing out my wisdom. I came out with a lot of wisdom at that period of time, and I came out with my first that if you reveal who you truly are, you're gonna be attracted by the people who most complement your life. Because during that period that I had to stay away from friends, that was a period where the true friends who were attracted to what I was about to do came came close to me. The people who were just with me because of who I claimed I was, they left. So that was just me bringing up my wisdom, and I found out that we are the product of our decision.
Hmm. Interesting. So I say that these days what I say is the mind is a great thing to waste.
Mhm.
You know why? because because if we're not in control of our mind, it runs amok.
Definitely, definitely. There
Just
is
like
some.
it's just like what you said. And I'm curious about what brought you to the United States. How did you get here? Since I'm a foreigner myself, I wasn't born here. But I'm just curious, what got you here?
Oh, intentionally, I came here first for studies. I'm a civil engineering major. I study civil engineering, and I'm like an engineer in profession, and I'm also an engineer of the mind. I program people's mind into the right mode.
Gotcha.
Yes.
So how did you learn English and where?
I come from a country that is bilingual. We speak both English and
Oh,
French.
you do. Oh, okay. Because you still have a pretty heavy accent, you know.
Yes.
uh, and
I like.
it sounds interesting. I mean,
Yes.
I probably sometimes people tell me I have an accent, and I'm going like, "What are you talking about?" I've been here for so long, I don't notice that I have an accent, but some people still do.
Yeah,
So go ahead.
I like my accent. It's unique.
Yeah, it's different. It makes you different, and so you stand out from the crowd.
True, true.
And so I'm curious. Out of those 9 wisdom keys, we probably don't have time to go through all of them on the
Mhm.
show, but just pick maybe the top 3 that you're most favorite and share it with our viewers. What are your top 3 wisdom keys that you like?
Okay, there's a wisdom key that I say pinpoint your weakness and use them as an opportunity to grow. With what is going on around the world, you see a lot of people blushing what they hate. A lot of people complain about things they hate, but I want to promote people to instead promote what they love and stop blushing, stop saying what they don't like. For instance, if you know you have a weakness in a certain area of your life, make that a daily job to find out that area that you are weak about and realize that if that area is not in line with your career, stay away from it and keep promoting, keep finding ways to develop the areas in which you know you are weak and is in line in your career rather than doing because we our days are numbered on earth. There is no time trying to be doing what is not going to help you tomorrow, the next day or that. Because what we put in our mind today, what we put tomorrow, what we put in the next year, merge together to form our future. So when you pinpoint that area of your life that you have weakness in it, you gotta picture your mind. Do you want to develop that area or not? And that thing goes along with your future or your dream, and then you develop it. So that's my third wisdom key. Pinpoint your weakness and use it as an opportunity to grow.
Okay. Do you have a couple of more?
Yes,
Let's
I
finish.
have another wisdom key. My number seven wisdom key. We are the product of the people we hang around with. Now that wisdom key goes a lot. If you hang around with losers, you're gonna become a loser. You hang around with winners, you're gonna become a winner. There's something that people need to really realizing that there is never a day you're going to hang around with people who are winning and you not put your mind on winning because we are the product, we are the sum of the 5 people, the average of the 5 people we hang around with. So I promote that wisdom key in the sense of if you look around today, you will see somebody who have the passion on winning, who have the passion to create something in his life, but he's hanging around with the wrong group. That wisdom key also side around in the sum that if you are the smartest in your group, then you need a new group. You gotta be around with the people who strive, who have drive, who have passion in life, who wanna win, and that's the right group that you have to be. So you are the product of the people you hang around with.
Gotcha. What about one more?
Okay, the decision you made today in your life gonna sum up with what you are doing every day. It's just like the wisdom key that says your future is hidden in your daily routines. Like what you are doing today, what you are doing tomorrow. Those are the things that you have to pay so much attention because that is how your future is shaped. That is how your future is looked. You can determine somebody future. You can try to predict somebody's life by what he is doing every single day. If you meet somebody, how somebody is spending his time, how somebody is spending his morning, his afternoon, and his evening, you can determine the person's push. You can determine if that person is hungry for a certain life. So the products you put every day determines your life tomorrow.
So, yeah, that I certainly totally buy into that. And what's interesting also to me is that there's a very large portion of the population these days that what they're doing is not what they're passionate about. They're doing things that they actually dislike,
Yes.
and but they do it because they either responsible for a family or they have to make a living and they have to have a roof over their head, and they kind of get stuck in this game I guess we can call this a game too, because what ends up happening is they keep repeating the same thing every day over and over. They get up in the morning and they really have a hard time getting up because they don't really have nothing forward. They have nothing really to look forward to. They don't like what they do, so they really don't want to go to work, but they make themselves go to work because they have to. So they go to work, go through the minutia of what they have to do all day, and they keep looking at the watch, either on their hand or on the wall. Notice I don't have a watch because I don't live by the clock. The only reason I even keep track of time is just so that we can have these broadcasts and meet with people at a certain time and space. Otherwise, I have no use for a watch. But they keep watching the day go by looking at their watch or looking at the clock on the wall, and it goes very slowly. And then when they come home, you know, they have dinner and they watch 4 or 5 hours of television, they go to bed, and the next day they repeat it all over again. So how do you how do you recommend that people break that cycle, because they are stuck?
Okay, that's something that is like all over around. You see a lot of people doing that. That is why a lot of people face heart attack in America, like on Monday morning, where they'll get up and they're going to jobs they don't like. They go to jobs that they pay them as much as possible from not quitting, and they work as much as possible from getting fired. A lot of people are doing what they're not passionate about and they are stuck. And that is why I have one saying from my mentor that live full and die empty. If you find out what you're passionate, first, they have to find out what they are passionate about. Second, they have to find out what drives them, what moves them, and what's going to give their life a sense of meaning. And work with your time now. Now, if you work in every day, you feel like you can put so much time, your hard time, every single day in a job, then you can definitely practice the game I call Cure OP, OQP, only quality people. Start practicing how to hang around with the right people, and then play another game that I call TTP, talk to people. Talk to the people that going to help you to take you to the next level. You can keep going to your job, but start, find a schedule in yourself and start networking with the people that are doing what you love to do. They're going to help you. The people are willing to help those that are hungry. Are you hungry? Because success boils down to how bad you want it. So if you're doing something that is not in line with what you're doing, if you're getting up and going to a job that you don't like, find a time within your schedule to start networking with the people who are doing what you love. Do a game TTP. If that game doesn't work, you try another game, TTNP. Talk to more people, and somebody will be willing to give you an opening. Knock the door for where you want to go. If it doesn't open, you find a way to go through the ceiling. Just find your way to that spot, and you're gonna see your life. Because when you use your passion, you can find your passion. Success can be created from using your passion and finding how people can pay you doing what you love. So find out what you love and start building it. You can start building it every part-time and keep using it, because no job is small. All jobs that are small are only jobs that don't take you nowhere. If a job is taking you towards your dream, then that's good. But if a job is not taking you anywhere, then you gotta shift a little bit and start going towards the right path. That's going to lead you to where you're going in the future.
Yeah, that's very good advice. So, Nero, let's talk a little bit about how you're making all this work for yourself. So, what do you do these days, and where are you headed? Like, what are you creating in the future?
Everything I do is boils down to is for the forefront of impacting people's life, changing people's mind, and creating a brighter tomorrow. I want to be a voice of hope and encouragement to a lot of young people around the world. I know a lot of young people are hungry in them, but they need a lead, they need somebody to tell them, to give them that voice, to stand for them as a guide. So recently, I just started a team, Destined to Win Project Team. So we're gonna come together. We're gonna give a lot of resources, bring out a lot of materials, products. We're working on inspirational videos. We're gonna work with a lot of books, coming out with a lot of powerful self-improvement books. We wanna make people to be able to have the materials for them to have as guide. Because I challenge a lot of young people to go to conferences, to read books, to read things. that going to straighten them, that going to enlighten them, that going to give them as a guide in what they are doing. Because no matter what you are doing, one of the greatest secrets to success is exposing yourself to positive messages every single day. So that is what I stand for, and that is what I do every day in my life. I get up every morning so pumped up with a lot of momentum, with a lot of energy, just keep doing what can impact somebody, touch somebody's life. I want to touch like 5 million people around the world with growth, making people realize why they were born, making people realize that they have a purpose, why they are on earth.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what are you creating then? For the future. How do you see Nero to make a difference in the world? Let's say 10, 15, 20 years from now.
Oh, wow. Um, um, I'm gonna be at a point in time in life where I'm gonna be all around the world on big conferences, millions of people, talking to a lot of big schools, talking to people, helping some of these young people with my voice, helping some, because that is what I feel God has blessed me. That's what I feel I was on this earth for. I was put on this earth to be able to serve as a voice of encouragement and hope for others, living my passion at the same time, helping people to discover their true being. So in 10 years, I'm gonna have about uh, 20 books out there, personal growth books. I'm gonna have a lot of videos. I'm gonna come out with motivational movies. I'm gonna come out with a whole big. I'm gonna have branches of my company in different areas of the world. That's a company that gonna post personal growth events. I'm gonna be able to start up a certification program that will enlighten people, that will serve people as like a 3 months guide that you can register for like a certification program to be a certified coach or something that's going to put you in the right track. And be able to put materials in prisons around the world that people won't have feel like life has left them alone can also read it and discover something within them. I'm going to be everywhere around the world. That's something that I want to strive for.
Yeah, that sounds very cool. I have noticed, but this is just me, that we're not lacking any motivational books out there on the market. There are hundreds of thousands of them.
Yeah, that's good.
It's just like there's been a lot of books written about alcoholics and how to stop being an alcoholic. But just the fact that all those books are out there, that doesn't stop the alcoholics, does it?
That's true. That's true. That's definitely and that's a very great question because if you look around, if you do search, you will realize that there's not a lot of young people on the self improvement category as an author. Like I'm that kind of young guy that I can relate with those young people as well. Things that were done 10 years ago are not still the same nowadays. So an author, even the most powerful motivational speaker in the world, can be 65 years, 67. He cannot relate to what is going on with the young people as compared to me, because I'm still faced
That
with the
is
same
that
challenges.
is that is true. That's a very good point.
I'm still
You
faced.
have an advantage. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that are doing motivational speaking, and a lot of them are, like you said, in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. And I'm not sure that they can relate really well, with the younger crowd. But I'm not saying it's not possible. It's just you have an advantage, and the fact that you living what you're talking about. So you are actually walking the talk.
Yeah,
Um,
and
you can and I have a funny thing about motivational speaking because I had an opportunity to do that a long time ago and I passed on it because I felt that and I used to be a personal development junkie for over 30 years, and I've done lots of programs, lots of books, lots of lots of CDs, lots of tapes. I've done all of those, and I mean, they all got me to where I am today, no doubt. But the interesting piece about like going to a weekend seminar is that people get all pumped up and they do get motivated, but when Monday comes around, business goes back as usual. Nothing has changed.
great.
And what I'm interested in developing people's and helping them develop their frontal lobes so they are awake and conscious. Because I seem to believe, after all the stuff that I've done, that when we are talking to the people, so when I'm doing these broadcasts and these shows, and I've done well over 15,000 of them, when we're talking to the people that are those type of people that we, and this is not a judgment, that is just where they are, when they are blind to the fact that they came to this earth for something, to accomplish something, not just to work for a company that they hate, or do the work that they don't like at all, and their life doesn't work. Their life basically sucks, but they continue to do it every day. That is not why we came here. But those people are not going to be hearing this conversation. Matter of fact, they're not going to be hearing this broadcast because they are unable to hear it. They're not open, and they're not awake. That doesn't mean that they cannot hear it later. I believe that what we're talking about right now, it doesn't occur on your clock or on my clock. It happens, and it occurs on when people are ready, and that's a really interesting place to be when somebody's ready, because you can tell them all, you can give them all the books, all the tapes, all the CDs, all the seminars until they're ready. And I'm speaking personally because I went through this myself. Until I was ready, it didn't matter.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that all the positive information and all the things that I learned did not make a difference, because it did, because it was all in my mind, but I didn't know what to do with it. Does that make sense, Nero?
That makes really sense. But let me go back to your first point about motivation. First of all, that is why they say motivation doesn't last, and that is why it is required to be done every day.
But Nero, I'm finding that I can't motivate anybody. People have to motivate themselves.
Yes. People have to motivate themselves, and that is why on the first page of my book I put that the two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you realize why you are born.
Yes.
So now, when you realize why you are born,
which when you, in a way, what you said is the second most important day is when you realize why you were born.
Yes.
Is basically when you become awake.
Yes, and that is why when you become awake,
you just said it differently.
When you become awake, the way you think changes. The people around,
everything changes. The whole world changes. Yeah.
And that is the point of time that I call it a taste for hunger. You become hungry. You are searching, and that is where people like us step into place now as a guide, because you always need guide. You can't succeed in this world alone. You need a mentor. You need a coach. Even the greatest successful player.
So let me take a wild guess, Nero, because this is what the conclusion that I came to. So tell me if I'm right on. So the reason you love the motivational speaking and what you do is because you know that based on the theory of chaos in the world, there's always going to be some people that are going to be ready when you're speaking. It doesn't matter that you're speaking in front of 10,000 people. Yeah. There's going to be maybe 1% or less that are ready, and that's enough.
And that is enough. Like I just wanna, if I go somewhere when it's a room of 50 people, if I'm able to just touch that one person who is hungry, then I know I'm doing something in this world. I just have to speak. Like that's why I say we are all born with a unique thing. We have a unique voice. We have a unique inspiration, a unique message. If you die today, what dreams die with you? What invention die with you? What ideas die with you? So if my passion is speaking to people and helping them, I just have to speak. Even I don't touch somebody, but I just want to keep touching those people who are hungry. Because success boils down to how bad you want it. Because if somebody wants it, that is why the person gonna go out and look it and search. And he gonna meet people like us who will tell them, hey, do this every day, and your life gonna be different. The people that you're gonna associate with them gonna be different. You're gonna stay away from toxic people. Stay with the people who gonna encourage you, who gonna keep making you to see more about life, to have a more vision for your life.
Yeah, makes absolute sense. Yeah, yeah. Uh,
Because
yeah, that's what's interesting about our network, that we keep attracting, and it doesn't matter, how you say it, or what how you deliver it. The message is really the same. Um, and that's the conclusion I'm drawing from my experience with you, is in a way we're very similar, because I am passionate for the same reason.
mhm,
I want to make a difference in people's lives, but
right,
I'm not. You know, I realize that it's going to happen whenever they're ready, and that's okay with me.
that's true.
I let that go, and I know that this information and what we're doing on this network is touching people all the time,
Mhm,
and I don't have to know it, but in my heart, I mean, I don't have to have evidence that it's happening. In my heart, I know it's happening, and uh, you know, I also have made a choice that I'm going to run this network based on walking the talk, and the only person that I really have control over is myself.
right.
Um, I can't change anybody, but I can change me.
Mhm.
So I've been on this on this journey of making Coach Steve Todd a better human being for the last 10 some years, and it's working.
That's true. I'm gonna give you this, and you can always have that in mind. Like what you do for yourself is gonna be gone when you leave this earth. But what you do for others, that is one of your legacy. So when you keep doing what you do, you are doing something. You are like a magic moment in some people's life, a leap of faith when the future seems to be unknown. You're touching some people out there. You're making some people realize something about them. You just have to keep doing what you are passionate about, because that is all about life.
Yeah, and I know this is what you're about too, is just about inspiration, inspiring people to,
Mhm.
to see, maybe turn the light on and see that there is more to life than what they've been up to. And for that, people have to be open. I'm finding
Yeah.
that, when people are closed, and when people are, how do I say it, just resigned and cynical, you can't really do anything with them at the moment. So I just wish them well, and maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, maybe next month, maybe next year, who knows? Whenever they're ready.
You just, that's why you just always have to play the game TTP, talk to people. If it doesn't work, you play the another game TTMP, talk to more people. But you touching somebody, you don't know, you can know somebody inside. You cannot talk to somebody today. Maybe you don't inspire the person today, but maybe in 2 years something occurs to that person, and what you told the person 2 years back happened to be the magic moment of the person's life. So we just all about in this war doing it like a risk, talking to people. And that is why if you don't risk, you cannot grow. If you don't grow, you cannot become your best. If you don't become your best, you cannot be happy. And if you don't happy, if you're not happy, what else is there? So it boils down for us just doing what we are passionate about, living a happy life, because we have today's promise, but tomorrow is not promised.
So, do you find, Nero, that a lot of people are looking for the solution to their questions and to their lives out there in the world? I used to say this, and I still say today, that people are looking for shiny objects. And what I mean by shiny object is, and this is very evident here in this country, materialism is a huge thing. People are looking for the next best car, the next best house, the next best boat.
Yeah.
They're looking for the next best woman, the next best man. They're looking for the next best motivational speaker. They're looking for the next best uh, book, the next best, and the list goes on.
Okay.
And they're finding that this is a list, and they can continue checking off the list. And as soon as they get to the end of the list, they tear it off and they start a new list, and this never ends. Do you find this to be familiar?
Very, very familiar, and in in two forms. First of all, some people are looking for some things, but they are not having it, which boils down to what are you willing to put in place in order to get what you're looking for? Nothing good in this world comes easy. If you keep doing what you're doing today, you're going to keep having the same result. So if you want something different in your life, you got to be able to put the effort in order to get that. And for those who keep getting and keep going after, it boils down to what I call self-satisfaction. Do you have a sense of meaning in your life? Do you know what makes you happy? Do you know what's gonna keep you, what's gonna keep your car moving? Do you know what's gonna make you keep playing the game of life? Because life is a continuum. We are in a game. That when once you are born, the game starts, and until you leave this world, that's when your game ends. So you are still keep living. After you get a dream, another dream will be born. After you get another dream will be realized. So it's just a matter of keep having a big shot. Shoot for the moon. If you miss, you're gonna land on the star. So for those of the people who keep going after bigger things, that is not really a bad problem. But what effort are you willing to keep putting in order to live the life or have the things you want to have in your life?
Yeah, that's awesome. So, you know, what I'm also wondering about, because one of the things that's really important to us on this network and on these shows is that we really ask people to stop looking outside of themselves for the, you know, getting the shiny objects to answer their needs, because it's not there. It's really within each person. Do you feel that everybody has their own answers within themselves? All they have to do is go and look.
No, first of all, you can't find something somewhere if you don't really know who are you. Who are you? That's one of the greatest questions. Who are you? What do you think you are doing on this earth? Why did people die yesterday, but you are still alive today? You got to know yourself. You got to know your lane. You got to know what you're able to do. You got to know what you love. You got to know your passion. So, and that
Yeah. Hey, Nero, listen to this. 10 years ago when I started this, this is how I started each show. I asked these questions of the guests. Who are you? What do you want? And how are you going to get what you want? And guess what happened? It was silent. So I had to stop asking those questions.
Yes, 80% of people don't know, and there is something like in the world. If you go around the world today, you're gonna see people that in schools they teach you about mathematics, they teach you physics, they teach you economics, they teach you all kind of knowledge. But there are not schools that teach people on how to discover your true self, how to know why you are born. Those are self knowledges. Those are things that you have to go for them. You have to be willing to find out who you are. I took more than 4 years of my life trying to find out who am I, trying to find out what my purpose is on in this earth. And that is something very big. If you don't really know what you are or who you are, you can't really find out from somebody else. Nobody can define yourself. You define yourself. Nobody can see something really for you until yourself. That's why if you are not passionate about something, don't expect somebody else.
Somebody to give it to you
Yes.
on a silver platter.
Exactly.
Like a lot of people think that's what coaches do, is that they can just go to a coach, pay them, and they're going to tell them, the coach is going to tell them, you know, what to do and what their passion is and, you know, how to create their wonderful life. That's not the way it works.
That's something that people need to pay so close attention and try to go after to find out them true self. And I write a lot about that in my book on how to discover your true identity, how to know why you are born, how to know your purpose in this life. Those are the things I cite on my book, Destined to Win in the Game of Life. Because when you know those things, you're gonna start thinking differently. You're gonna see life differently. You're gonna face with the challenges and you're gonna smile. You're gonna be like, come again, challenges.
So Nero, this is what's blowing me away right now. This is what's coming to me. So what's fascinating me about you is that you already got all this figured out, and I don't know how old you are. You don't have to disclose your age, but everybody knows and can see that you're very young. And I'm just going like, oh my God. When I was your age, I had no clue. I mean, it took me most of my life to figure this out. I mean, I only been on this journey of being awake and conscious and doing my passion is just for the last 10 years. And I'm 60 years old. And I'm going like, oh my God, here is Nero. He's got it all figured out. So what's the possibility for Nero? It's blowing my mind. Like, where are you going to be when you're 50 and you're 60, knowing what you know today?
Oh yeah, my mentor asked me that a couple of times. Like he always tell me, my friend, you are very young and you have discovered a lot of things about life. I,
Yeah, I mean, it's just it amazes me because it's not. This is not the norm. This is like one, probably one in a million, or
yes,
maybe one in 10 million. I don't know what the number is, but this is not a common thing at all. I mean,
yes,
I know because from my own experience, I interviewed thousands of people, and you're the first young man
there
that's
you go.
gotten together in terms of that I can have a conversation with you
Yes,
about the things that I have discovered that took me all my life.
yes. And that is why I say every day and I talk to young people, hey, I can relate to what you're going through because I've been there. Like I tell some people, hey, you do this 2 years, that's how you're gonna be. Because I've been there before you. Remember, I started searching for life when I was like 15 years old. Because I challenged myself so much in doing things that people of 40 years were doing. And one of the greatest things that made me I am who I am today is because I practice OQP, only quality people. I had to stick around with people who are doing things I want to do when I grow older. And when I started following their footsteps, other than going along with my friends that play the game, follow the followers, doing what they don't know. They don't even know they're lost. They don't even know they're doing something that they can't even explain. That was what differentiated me from being young. For me, I look young here, but I don't look young here. I look so much mature, so much old in my head because I people of 35 years, 40 years old. Yesterday, I was talking with a lady who is about 50 years who just called me on how I can educate her in something. She lost something very precious to her and she wanted me to put her in place. So those are the kind of things being around with someone who is 50 years also make me to have a sense of that age, to have a sense of what they're going through. And I feel so passionate and so happy because I'll be able to realize this while I was young. And everything happens for a reason. God knows why He gave me this for a reason, so I can relate to all these young people at my age. Because one of my greatest things is changing the mindset of the young people. The world is going crazy. And if there are no young people around me, like me, a lot of people are not going to be free.
Well, that is very awesome, Nero, and I want to acknowledge you for being who you are, and you are living proof that it doesn't have to take long. It really doesn't, and that's good news because people don't have to search and study and learn about how to create and how to win the game of life
Yes.
for 40, 50, 60 years. It can be done much faster, and you are living proof. So I really appreciate you being on the network. I really loved every moment being with you and finding out more about you, who you really are, and what you're doing for the younger generation is absolutely amazing. And congratulations. And if I had a hat like you, I would take my hat off to you right now. So I really enjoyed you. Thank you so much for being on the network. Your message is very important. I hope lots of young people will watch this program. If not live, they can watch them as a replay. And thank you very much. And again, for everybody out there, if Nero or me said anything that touched, moved, and inspired you, please coming back to consciousevolutionmedia.com and watch all of our programs. It can change your life. Um, Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next week on the next edition of Mind, Body, and Soul TV. Thank you, Nero.
All right, thanks. It was great being on the show, and I'm gonna leave people just with one saying: you become what you think about every day. Thank you, and it was great being on the show. See
Oh,
you.
absolutely. And also mention I forgot to ask you about your website. Mention people how they can find out more about you and about your book.
Okay, I'm on all social media you can think about. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram. You can find me there just by my name, El Haji
Yeah,
Nero.
I'll let you know. Yeah.
My website is www.beanelhajinero.com.
Easy. All right. Hopefully everybody will follow up. Thank you so much, and see you guys next week.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Take care. All right.